Millions of people died due to COVID-19 on this planet in past few years. Germs prove a point that they can overpower the human survival, and if humans wish to survive, better we know the germs and best is that we control them. Each of us is made up of between 10 and 100 trillion cells. But there are 1000 times more bacteria than that both inside and on each of our bodies. For this reason, both good and bad bacteria determine our health. Bacteria are essential for life as we know it because they feed on dead material, breaking it down into chemical components which can be reused. For example, leftover vegetables are decomposed into composite that can be used as fertilizer. Industry spotted bacteria's potential years ago and now makes use of its talents for the production of drugs and the disposal of sewage. The flip side is that bacteria can be also very deadly to humans. Man has found ways of controlling most things, but disease is something that continue to plague us. For centuries, people believed that diseases are caused by bad vapors in the air, but an English doctor had another idea. Dr. William Budd was born in the town of North Totton in Devon in 1811. While working as a surgeon during the outbreak of typhoid in 1839, he noticed that diseases spread from victims to the people looking after them. For the next 8 years, he studied the contagious disease and came to the conclusion that it could be spread through water. He thought that if poisons could multiply the intestine of sick people and then make their way into sewage, they would eventually reach healthy people through contaminated water supplies. After moving to Bristol, he made efforts to protect the town's drinking water and was responsible for the huge reduction in deaths from cholera infection. Similarly, over the past 120 years, we have seen a huge number of medical advances, such as vaccines and antibiotics, along with a spectacular drop in deaths from infectious diseases. While all these triumphs are worth celebrating individually, they all come from the same fundamental insight and idea, the germ theory of disease. Put simply, this says that specific pathogens could cause specific diseases. From that insight came the many defenses we now take for granted, including the simple act of washing our hands. After COVID-19, germs proved a point that humanity needs to understand what are germs. The term germs refers to the microscopic bacteria, viruses, fungi, and protozoa that can cause disease. Most of the germs don't harm us at all. In fact, they help us in digesting food, protecting against infection, and even maintaining our reproductive health. Next question is, what causes the germs? Usually, germs are transmitted from unclean hands to food by an infected food preparer who didn't wash his or her hands after using the toilet. The germs are then passed to those who eat the food. This is easily prevented by always washing your hands. Before the advent of germ theory in Europe, the theory in Europe prevailing at that time was miasma theory. Miasma theory was predominant theory of disease transmission before the germ theory took hold towards the end of the 19th century. It is no longer accepted as a correct explanation for disease by scientific community now. This theory held that the diseases such as cholera, Black Death, and other diseases were caused by miasma, which in Greek means pollution. Miasma was considered to be poisonous vapor or mist filled with the particles from decomposed matter that identifiable by its foul smell. The theory postulated the diseases were the product of the environmental factors such as contaminated water, foul air, and poor hygienic conditions. Such infections, according to the theory, were not passed between individuals, but would affect those within a locale that gave rise to such vapors. But now the germ theory of disease is the currently accepted scientific theory for many diseases. This theory states that microorganisms known as pathogens or germs can cause diseases, and these small organisms are too small to be seen without magnification. Last but not least, let us give credit to the scientist who presented the basic germ theory. His name was Girolamo Fracastro, who was born in 1476 and died in 1553. He was an Italian physician, poet, scholar, mathematician, and having keen interest in geography and astronomy. It is only in the 19th century that bacteriologists studied Fracastro's work, and his seeds of disease theory was accepted as a predecessor to the germ theory.